We're trying to make sustainable trails or repair trails to a sustainable state, which requires less maintenance in the long run.
It's real important to maintain the trails and keep the upkeep to keep them in proper riding conditions for us. Trails with time get rutted up from riding, skidding your rear brakes coming down some of the trails. You get runoff, water runoff, so you get ruts in the trails from heavy rains and soil erosion. So all of those things take a toll on the trail, as well as the mountain bike takes a toll on the trail. But those are some of the important things to keep maintained on the trail.
Doesn't look like much of a trail, but so I used to go around this tree and then that fell, right? So then I think I made like a shortcut, something like this. This hasn't been used at all, so this is what happens. Nature takes over again.
It's a non-renewable resource. Once they're gone, they're gone. We need to keep the trails clear. We need to make sure they're be able to be used by all parties. I want to ride the same trails 10 years from now. I want to be able to ride these things. I don't want them to be gone because they're built poorly and they've eroded so much over time. Trail maintenance is keeping up. Sometimes it's just moving logs out of the way, removing brush and down branches from there, but it's making the trails usable by all parties from all levels.
You want to ride because that's what you do, but you don't want to ruin the trails.
Obviously, we're very, very concerned about our trails. We've got amazing trails in the New Jersey, New York area.
So the more the trail is maintained, in a way it's easier to ride the bike.
The main, I guess we could say, degradation or destruction of trails is through erosion. So it's mostly about managing soil loss from erosion. So the main way to do that is to monitor trail grades. Depending on your soil type, around 15% grade, soils tend to erode faster, depending on your soil type.
Like we've had in the last 24 months with a lot of rain, a lot of snowfall, a lot of freeze thaw, the trails are more prone to get damaged easily. It's hard to tell people not to ride bikes on the trails, especially when there's thaw and when they're muddy. But those you have to take those into consideration when developing the trail network.
You think of it as road construction, but it's dirt road construction or mini road, narrow road construction. I mean, sometimes trails are wider than, or as wide as roads. As you get wider, it's actually more difficult to maintain or stop soil loss. Soil loss is the primary change from a trail's original constructed state. When you first construct a trail, it'll really never be that again. There's always going to be a little bit of change. Even if you put artificial surfacing, weathering and traffic are going to change the texture, if you will, of that trail. And if you push grades and don't have enough drainage, you will certainly lose that original state in which it was constructed. But how can you keep it close to that original state or whatever was intended? And that takes, I guess, some science and art.
Sometimes it's just moving logs out of the way, removing brush and down branches from there. But it's making the trails usable by all parties from all levels. It's not just, hey, there's a big tree there, let me put some logs in front of it. No, it might be moving it out of the way because your beginners can't deal with it. Reestablish ready, pushing out. Reestablish ready. Because if we keep forward, we want the trails to be around here forever. Trails are erode and get, it's a non-renewable resource. Once they're gone, they're gone. We need to keep the trails clear. We need to make sure they're be able to use by all parties. I want to ride the same trails 10 years from now. I want to be able to ride these things. I don't want them to be gone because they're built poorly and they've eroded so much over time. I want to be able to get out and ride basically the same things.
I used to have a line that went down that way, but then look at all this stuff that fell. I mean, these are massive trees. There's no getting around that.
So I'm a co-chair of Palisades MTB, which is the Palisades mountain bike organization, and we're working on some potential programs to actually develop the land. The biggest challenge is the Northeast, specifically New Jersey from the Hudson River, almost all west, is very rocky, very technical terrain. It doesn't offer very many options for beginner level riders. Right now the trails are mostly hiking trails, and they follow fall lines and erode very quickly and don't hold mud very well. So we're creating a program and a strategy to create more bike programs locally for the kids. So right now we're looking at existing trail network without rebuilding, without completely rebuilding, and looking at areas that are normally difficult to maintain because they're either just inherently muddy or difficult to pass, and we're looking at different trail techniques to either reroute those trails or improve them so they're more passable and less prone to damage long term.
With the trail conference, my primary role, well, many roles, but a good part of the year in the field season is training AmeriCorps members. We have a conservation corps. We're trying to make sustainable trails or repair trails to a sustainable state, which requires less maintenance in the long run.
Probably just push it up the corner.
Yeah, we'll spread around the sign just to keep some of the work.
Oh, yeah?
You have to kind of remember a lot of these trails have to be environmentally sustainable. So if it's through an area that cannot be sustained, you have to make changes to it. And it's not necessarily dumbing it down so much as it's making sure that we will have this trail
make it
going
easier
forward.
to make it possible.
Exactly. There's other areas, where maybe people are thinking that it's been dumped down because you move a rock or whatever.
Or if a tree goes down, there's not really too many options. You have to.
Well, there's always that option of do you build it up or do you cut it, right?
This is off camber. It'd be really hard to build like an up and over on this because it'd be better if you had a straighter approach to it like this.
Right. And so a lot of people are going to say if you cut it, that makes it dumb, right? And there's other people who just want to build it up endlessly. But I can tell you there's places where you then end up with like just constant log overs and you don't have enough time, especially as newer mountain bikers. You don't have an opportunity to really kind of learn how to do something if you're constantly thrown into this fray.
I think that those people that say that about the trails should join.
Help out
us.
A lot of those people
then
are
you could have some say in what we're doing.
To the trail need to be done for a purpose, not just because, hey, I couldn't get over that rock, so I removed it. people need to upgrade their skills sometimes, but there need to be go-around options so everybody can get through. You can't just put a 30-foot drop in there and expect everybody to go off there, even a 3-foot drop. You need to have options from beginners on up and keep it so there's something that makes all trail users happy. And it's hard finding that balance sometimes.
Well, I've always ridden bikes as a kid, grew up in upstate New York where we had lots of access to fire roads and the woods, and we were always just outside playing in the woods, riding our bikes, building jumps. That was before mountain bikes, and then mountain bikes became a thing. You know, I was riding like a Schwinn Vista with a banana seat in the woods, and then mountain bikes became a thing, and it was just sort of a natural, I might as well try this, and with the proper equipment. And so I really got into it in like the early 90s, when the bikes really started to become more specific to trails, and then I've just been with it ever since. Running nice with all the rain we just had. In the winter it freezes, it's kind of interesting over here. I wanted my kids to be able to go with their friends and experience some of the things that I did from my own childhood, I think, which was going out into just being outside. There's such a screen addiction going on nowadays with kids. Like, they go inside, they sit on their devices, and they just even my son, who's doing mountain bike racing now, will still go inside after school, and if I don't say something to him, he'll easily spend an hour or two just watching videos on his phone, which I guess is like watching TV when we were kids or when I was a kid. I want kids to get outside and enjoy the woods and nature and have fun while they're doing it, because hiking is fun, but biking is a lot more fun. So
a beginner rider is scared of anything. The slight little hill, a roll down that an advanced rider, hey, this is a piece of cake, they may stop and be terrified and walk down it. But it's really for beginners riders, and especially now there's been such a growth of clinics, it's taking advantage of the skills clinics and getting your basics down. It cuts years off your learning curve, so it really gets you up and being more confident sooner.
I've just been enjoying the trails that other people have been riding, but it's time to give back.
No, as bikers, we love everything, because every trail is so different than another. Some has, steep slopes, some have water scenery, lakes. So really, it's like you have 3 kids. Which one you love the most? I love them all the same.
I was going to say. Mulch.
Mulch.